Three, two, one, zero. Ignition. Liftoff.
Hello and welcome to AMA Expo Express. This is our how-to segment. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good morning. My name's Bill. I'm from Rotor FX out of Whiteman Airport in Los Angeles, and we are here today to give the how-to become a certified Part 107 commercial operator. What that means is as far as that goes, today with the new regulations, you're not allowed to operate a small UAS or UAV without a certificate from the FAA. And what that means is that the FAA is endeavoring to open up the marketplace for profit for individuals wanting to fly small unmanned aircraft systems for profit or for money. It's different from being a hobbyist or a modelist. There's different rules for that. I have a strong background in modeling and in building and so on and so forth, and then I kind of gravitated into the area of drones, for lack of a better word. Now, what you need to do in order to become a certified pilot with the FAA, there's certain requirements that need to be done, and that again is to operate for hire, flying small UAVs, typically with cameras or sensors or mapping devices or any of the myriad of uses that modern drones have to offer today. In order to do so, what you have to do is you have to take an aeronautical test that's authored by the FAA, and that test is basically it's fashioned and it's designed to teach pilots how to operate safely, to avoid manned aircraft, and of course to prevent danger to people and property on the ground. So the rules are all designed around that. So the testing has certain criteria. The test itself is 60 questions, multiple choice, and you have to get 70% of that to pass. Now there's certain criteria or subjects that are covered in this test, and the whole aim of all this is to make you a safe pilot, and of course to ultimately expand all the SUV traffic management system for the FAA. The first three requirements in order to qualify for a Part 107 certificate or license from the FAA is: one, you have to be 16 years old, speak, read, and write English fluently, okay? And then, of course, you have to take the knowledge test that I mentioned at a knowledge testing facility that's been designated by the FAA to administer those tests. Thereafter, you get checked out with the Department of Homeland Security to make sure that you are not a threat to national security. Thereafter, you file your application and you take your test. There are certain hard and fast rules that you're going to have to know, and I think that even regular modelers need to know. One is that the UAV, unmanned aerial vehicle, has to be less than 55 pounds. And the theory behind that is its weight can cause more damage than, say, a lighter aerial vehicle. The second is that they want the aircraft to constantly be in what they call the visual line of sight. That means you have to see it unaided with binoculars. Prescription lenses, of course, will do. And the theory is if you never let the aircraft out of your sight, you're going to be a better pilot. Obviously, there's obstacles that you cannot see the further away you get from the pilot. And so the rule to keep the aircraft in visual site serves actually a number of purposes. One is, of course, you know if there's obstacles in the area. Secondly, you know if manned aircraft are approaching, okay? And thirdly, and it does happen, people believe or don't believe that GPS fails, but it does. And if you lose GPS on your vehicle, it does not know where it's supposed to be, and the wind will take it away rather quickly, assuming that there's any type of wind, which could mean a number of things. It could be dangerous for people and property on the ground, other types of aircraft, including manned aircraft, and of course, moving vehicles. We don't want to hit any moving vehicles. Another rule is that they want you to fly during daylight hours, and the reason for that is pretty obvious. Again, the same reasons as before. You're able to avoid obstacles, and you're able to see things that you normally would not see, in after twilight. The rule is basically 30 minutes before sunset and 30 minutes after sunset is you're legal to fly. Another important rule, of course, is you have to yield at all times to manned aircraft. That's the whole purpose of ATC and air traffic control, is to yield to manned aircraft, and that is why the airspace overlying most of the United States, the national airspace system, is in fact controlled airspace. It's controlled by the Federal Aviation and Aircraft Traffic Control. Now, the point of aircraft traffic control is, of course, to prevent aircraft from colliding with each other and so on and so forth. So when a drone operator is in what we call controlled airspace, an example, we are across the street from Ontario Airport. Okay, that's what is known as Class C airspace. The airspace is regulated in terms of density. So Ontario is Class C, but LAX would be described as Class B airspace because it's far more congested, more aircraft, heavier aircraft, more volume, and so on and so forth, so the regulations change. Typically on the testing, there's a strong focus on airspace, the national airspace system, and that, of course, again, is for safety issues. In order to fly a drone in controlled airspace, say where we are right now in Ontario, you have to have what is called a waiver or permission from the FAA in advance. The way to do that now, presently, is via a portal or a request system, an application system that is actually on the FAA website, allowing you to fly in airspace such as where we are now. The problem that we've had recently, which we're getting away from now, is getting authorization to fly in controlled airspace has been rather onerous. It's been difficult. It takes 90 days, if not more, to get that. But what the FAA is implementing right now is going to make all that a lot easier. And it's going to allow people to work, and it's going to prevent people from flying illegally or unlawfully. And this new system is called the LANC, as I call it, LAANC, and that's low altitude authorization, okay, notification capability. It's a real-time method where drone pilots, will have a map or a grid around controlled airspace like Ontario. And there's two companies that are actually in partnership with the FAA to allow these authorizations to take place. One is AirMap and the other is Skyward. And they have applications that you can put on your phone. And say an example, if I were to go now to AirMap on my application, and let's see if I can find it. So if I go to AirMap, you can see right there, it's identifying where I am in terms of airspace. Now if I expand that, if you can get that, I actually contract it, you can see that we are in Ontario airspace, and if we go smaller and smaller, you can see all the airports in the area, okay? At some point, the LANC system will have grids for each airport or airspace, which will give you the maximum altitude you're allowed to fly. Okay, where we are right now is probably 0. You can't fly at all. But then again, there is a way to get around that. And you would request your authorization to fly here or within any of these rings of controlled airspace through this particular system. Again, this is air map. We also have before you fly is another way to identify airspace, but currently the only applications that are available to actually get authorization to fly around this airspace is air map and Skyward. And that has a lot of people excited because it's real time. Right now, this system, the Land-Sea system, is prototype. In the summer, it's expected that it's going to go into beta testing and then eventually expand all over the United States, which is actually, it's got a lot of people excited now because now people don't have to worry if they're going to be able to do that real estate shoot or get that shot of that warehouse or anything else because of controlled airspace. The airspace, an example, they're all different. I mean, this is like typically a 5 or 6 hour course, so I'm trying to condense it in 5-10 minutes. So it's kind of difficult, but the classes of airspace are typically the hardest for people to learn. Once they have the knowledge or the understanding of the airspace, then they start getting into things such as weather, aeromedical factors, the effects of alcohol, risk management, in terms of evaluating yourself and the aircraft in terms of pre-flight testing and so on and so forth. And as I said, it's all in all, the overall scheme for the certification process is to allow safe pilots that do not conflict with manned aircraft and basically are responsible aircraft operators. So that's as close to the short summation I can give you in the very short time allowed.
All right, we will pause for a second for our flag ceremony and then we'll be right back. Welcome back to AMA Expo Express, sponsored by Motion RC. This is our how-to segment. So tell us where we can find out some more.
Okay, if you need any further information about flight training, whether it be manned aircraft, helicopters, fixed wings, any of the drones that we rent and or sell, you can contact us via rotorfx.com, as indicated there on our postings. And we're full service. We have a large inventory of aerial vehicles, including fixed wings. We design aircraft, special use aircraft, and so on and so forth. So we're available for any type of training you need in the aerial type industry. And all you have to do is give us a shout out, and we'll be happy to help you in any way we can.
All right, awesome.
All right.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Yep. So we have our swap shop today from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The show's officially open, so make sure you come out. We'll have our live new product segment here at 11 a.m., so stay tuned.